I've bbeen tossed overboard.
I'll have to bill you extra for my time.
Welcome to the show. You look incredible, like a dessert that owns a yacht.
That's exactly the vibe I was going for. You know, sweet but slightly out of your tax bracket.
Mission accomplished. How does one even shop for a suit when your head
Gold on my neck, gold on my hand, purple with the stripes, that's the walk of a man. Sidewalk shining, city lights humming, every step I take, they know a boss is coming.
Blazing the whip, gotta vanquish the needs. My kingdom for some poppy seeds. Yo.
I'm calling from Los Angeles, and I'm having a little problem under the name ThATuMBRELLAgUY. I sent him my phone number at least 20 times in the chat and told him to call me. He ignored me, or I'm a man. I filed the report. If you guys could take a look at it and give me a call back, I would love to hear what you guys can do to help us. We really need to kind of stop this guy at least until Monday. I told him to call me, or I'm a man.
You know what? I talk to your mayor.
Have you communicated with a social media user who goes by the name ThATuMBRELLAgUY?
I've had several phone calls with a person who goes by the name ThATuMBRELLAgUY. I don't actually know his real name.
Thought your lies were solid. To the cracks, let daylight in. Thought you were ballin'. Till the pay piggy stopped hitting sin. You thought everyone was sleeping while you creeping that stash. Figured you was solid in those wallets, skimming that cash. 56,000 drop by one donor. And when asked, you said me, I'm the owner. That's fraud. You ain't fit for Denny's, ma'am, drive through. Whole timelines clocking your crew. Receipts on deck, let's count the ways. A bench, a barn, a fence, a verbal maze. You pretend to help like you're right, but all you do is out of spite. Now the world sees you and you're stressing. All those blue lights got you guessing. No, not all monsters are fairy tales. Some set online broadcasting fails, and that's you. One day soon, no more pretend. And when it does, the thieving ends, hopefully behind bars. You broadcast good deeds for the clout and the likes, but that umbrella guy pulled up with the mic and the spikes. Means hitting harder than your fake ass fence. Every donor screenshot got you playing defense. You said better life for the kid, straight face, no shame. Now the kid's still waiting and you still in the game. Timeline flip, pitchforks in the chat. You stressing in the DMs, deleting this and that. And he's drive through, too rich for your kind. Now you're running from the comments, losing your mind. You thought the internet would forget? Now we got receipts. Every dollar you flipped, every lie you delete. Barn never built, bench never laid. Fence still missing, kids still in the shade. That umbrella guy live, calling you out by name. Memes circulating faster than your shame. You stole from the kind, from the ones who believe. Now karma got heavy bass and she's about to leave. No more pretend, the thieving gotta end. Behind bars or broke, either way you decide. Now the whole world knows.
What's up, folks? How's it going? Welcome to a Friday edition of The Fire That Never Ceases. By the way, I want to start this off by asking you a wonderful, not hypothetical question. Okay, and this one is directed to Michelle Preston, by the way. Are you shock collaring your quote-unquote service dog? Is that what's happening, Michelle? Because shock collaring a service dog is a huge no-no. So if you are doing that, I'm confused by a couple of things. In fact, John Cook went on this. I'm gonna open my Coke. I get one Coke a day, so I'm having a little caffeine. I've been trying to figure something out here. The excuse for the fire department being delayed to get into the fence was having to corral the dog, right? Now, I can understand a regular dog like that, but this dog is a very expensive supposed service dog. Now, we've seen pictures with this quote-unquote service dog just running loose, and that's not typically how you handle a service dog, particularly a service dog that is for a small child. A service dog for a small child, you spend a lot of time, the dog with the person, and that way the bond is developed. You reinforce needs, but you also don't shock collar dogs. So you don't shock collar a service dog. I personally, shock collaring, it's under if it's an area that's dangerous, I understand with a regular dog, as long as you do it within reason. Some of these people, they don't. But with a service dog, the problem here is, you're risking fear or anxiety, not to mention pain. Even if you took the pain out of it, the fear and anxiety can actually cause problems with your service dog, particularly when you haven't had it that long together. So I saw something that makes me believe that they're shock collaring that dog, and just curious about that. Now again, if that is not correct, then they can address that if they like, but they seem very busy. They seem very busy still trying to spin the remnants of the Great Fire of Otter Creek. This has been it's been kind of a fascinating one to watch play out too, because the spin, it not only comes up, but the spin, they are still spinning on top of the fire. How Travis should have gotten in trouble, because Travis could have caused a fire during a burn ban, but Michelle Preston shouldn't get in trouble, or John Cook shouldn't get in trouble, even though they actually had a fire during a burn ban. Now, how do you make all that make sense? Well, I guess you have to think like an idiot. What stupid people. I mean, seriously, I was looking over. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about today. We'll talk about the new spin to the fire. And guess who's getting blamed today? Can you all guess? Let's see if we can guess it out in the chat. Who do you think? So it started out as Travis, then Levy County, but I noticed a certain person hadn't had all their blame yet. So who do you think would get blamed? By the way, too, I do want to make a wonderful announcement. So Jay, at least noted, you never know with Jay if anything is true or not. But Jay said tomorrow he was supposed to have a special guest, Clark Stark. So tomorrow afternoon, that's what he says anyway. So tune in. And Jay, if you're out there listening, or somebody can confirm, I could never tell. Like, Jay sends me some of the strangest. If you think Jay is a strange one on his stream, well, guess what? He's just like that when he messages or anything else. So it was like this the other day. It was funny when we were messing with Megan for the pre-birthday thing. Jay messaged and was like, "Hey, it'd be funny if I came on." And he was like, "Okay." I noticed that. I was like, "Yeah, sure. If you want to, I'll throw you a link. It'll be really funny. You pop in real fast." And he's like, "No, man, I'm just kidding." I was like, "What the fuck, man?" It's such a nut. Oh, it cracks me up though. But I think it'd be fun. I think that would be fun. Jay's a lot of fun anyway. You should check that out. All right. Now let's look at, and I'll mention it again. Let's look at the excuses, shall I? So we have a new excuse to go with blaming, because you can see, first of all, you see the press releases down here. I'll actually show you the press release there. And I went through and I took out all the stuff that's on it, but I'll show it posted, and then I'll show you what they're writing in is what the burn ban says, but I'll show you what they had up. But so much of this is just so crazy. So Michelle Preston puts out, so this was sent to me, and I also heard that our stalker admitting calling the fire department on us. Now that's actually not what happened. They had a live stream, and Hale's, they kept bringing up Hale's tweets. Let's see. Mark, were you the one who posted the big, here, let me show you. Give me 1 minute. Let's give you an idea of what they're talking about here. So there was a comment they brought up. You know, you can see this is off of that stream. I believe this was Mark that put this up again. And you can see his quote here. It said, "A neighbor did call the fire department. Travis did not," which Travis said. Travis said multiple times. And, you know, they all decided that they would blame Travis. Before knowing, of course, they said that it was 100% Travis that did it. You had them also saying Travis did it, that he was a stalker, all of this other stuff. And like, now which ruggedly handsome neighbor called to report illegal burning? You know what's funny? They automatically were like, Jeremy Hales. I was like, man, are they all saying that they're fans of the ruggedly handsome Jeremy Hales? The other men, are they saying that Brian's not ruggedly handsome? Interesting. I mean, it wasn't a burn ban after all. People were getting smoked out there, so I'm just kind of curious about that, you know? I just thought that was funny. They were like, it's Jeremy did it. I know there are neighbors who didn't want their 70 acres to burn up in flames. You know what's funny is they're all, including Michelle Preston, calling this harassment as well. Now, again, it was all good to go when they called the police on Travis to talk about fireworks, which they damn well knew were fireworks, because they said they had video. They lied. Actually, the 911 call showcases that they lied, by the way, and said that they had film of Travis with a pew-pew. So they lied about it, and they doubled down on that lie. Then when they get called out about it, they were actually like, no. You know what? It was bad because that could have started a fire. Now, the police themselves even said that they didn't know whether or not that would be a violation of the burn ban. You know, throwing fireworks. What is a violation of a burn ban, though, is having a fire. I know, that's a shocking thing, right? But they were so butthurt about this, though. And it's like, well, you know, and on top of that, they report every move this dude makes. Like I said, I would do everything in my power to make sure that my land did not burn. These people are the antis even said, Lisa even said, they are the epitome of recklessness. They can't manage anything. They can't manage money. They can't manage any responsibility. You know, they can't take care of anything, but you're going to trust them not to burn your whole fucking everything down? Are you kidding me? Yeah, no way. So let's go back to that, shall we? Let's go back to Michelle Preston's statement on this. 1 second. Locking that in here. All right. So, our stalker admitting falling. Now, he did not say that he did call, but he would have in every reason. Also, again, I don't know how to make this any clearer. Going out and trying to say that our stalker, they're trying this thinly veiled attempt to not use his name to try to circumvent the protective order. All the while, they're naming all these other people that are right there that make it very easy to identify who they're talking about. That doesn't work. You're like, but Shane Travis Willis. I like we got 3 commas there. Look, I think, by the way, now with the AI they're trying to use now, look, it's like, lady, you never use any commas. I'm going to give you a few extra for the next time you post. Shane, comma, Travis, comma, Willis. It's trying to stockpile them. So the next time we have to read some of that horrible writing. Oh my God. Oh my Lord. Okay, so but he and Shane Travis Willis are both stalking us now, as well as others. And we do not feel safe at all, huh? So let me get this straight. Calling the fire department. First of all, these people light up a fire every time that Travis live streams. They also, you had John Cook come out and brag that he was going to smoke everyone out the next time he did this. They have yelled through fences. They've done all of this stuff, but it's other people that are stalking. In fact, it's so crazy. So somebody sent, props to you, by the way, because I think this is the best example of the way things are set up there to talk about what cameras are used for. So when you look, typically we don't see the camera placement because, where the videos are, but you can actually see how their cameras are placed. Their cameras are not placed. Look at that freaking hole in the fence, by the way, man. Holy God. Again, $20,000 fence, guys. That's what they disappeared. But they said at one time, $20,000 in fencing. I remember it was all paid for with gift cards, but all that money could have built a real fence. Instead, you get this kind of madness right here. But look where the camera, look at how it's pointed. It's not pointed off your main gate where you catch people that are coming up, and out, because you could put a camera right there. If you put it close to the upper left. Now, of course, the way these people drive, they'd probably knock it off too. But they could still put it on the upper left where the giant gap is, on the right of the giant gap. That would help somewhat. But they don't. They have it set up to capture people riding down the road. It's on the other side too. 1 minute. Let me pull up another image for you. So if you look at the other camera, again, so check this out. Here is the other camera as far as placement is concerned. Now, that is not a security item as far as that goes. It is pointed into the road. And yes, somebody was walking it through Google Earth. You can tell they're walking it through in prompts. Actually, I like that you can show the cameras and how they're situated, because the cameras are not situated to maintain the property. They're situated for drama. They're situated to give assholes online that want to monetize a person despite a protective order ammunition. And look at, I think they should put in For Jeremy should put in 150 cameras over there. He's already, like I said, I saw something, and I'm not going to mention what. People can look it up. But I certainly think there are more cameras there than I thought. I think they're so paranoid they think there are cameras everywhere. But I believe there are a number of real cameras over there, and there should be, by the way. These people have made their intentions very clear on doing horrible things. So I very well do think you should have cameras everywhere. But isn't it interesting, too, that with all that money, they only picked up 2 cameras? Isn't that strange? Like I have on my home, I have outward facing. These are just outward facing cameras. I have now a dozen outward facing cameras. That way I catch all these different spots. I even have when the kids, they would complain because we wouldn't know when like a pizza delivery would come up. I don't get pizza that often, but if you do, you have to wait. So they were like, put in one that gets everything, including right at the top of the driveway. So we even had the pizza cam. They have 2. And you see the facing. I mean, you can absolutely tell those are drama related. Give me 1 minute. Let's go back to Michelle Preston's post. Michelle's posting. And so, what was that? But they're stalking. We do not. Our comings and goings are watched. And it was even announced by our stalker when we leave, etc. Okay, so this is beautiful here. You know what Michelle Preston just did with that statement right there? She admitted that when they are giving video to Lisa, when they're playing it online, that it causes fear, and that comings and goings, talking about that, having somebody announce that to the world for them, their PR folks out there, that's stalking. Huh, that's interesting. Either it's okay or it isn't. And it actually isn't anyway because of the protective order. But if the protective order were away, because they're talking about it with absolutely no protective order. The difference is that here they're saying this right here is happening. Well, the difference in that is these people, they're giving third parties footage of somebody that's leaving. They are coming in or leaving or whatever. They were announcing when Hales had not announced to the world that he was in Otter Creek because he didn't want people to know that he was actually back in Otter Creek. They were announcing it to the world. So this is kind of a spin screw up on her side. Because when she's trying to say, oh, we're afraid, it's terrible, he's talking, wait a minute. I thought you all said that wasn't a problem. In fact, you were giving footage of Jeremy Hales, and you were having these people announce that they were there. John Cook was setting in chats, making sure that he told these people, oh, yeah, he came back on blah, blah day. And they were announcing it. So again, whoopsie. That's a big problem, is it not? They also... They're bringing up DJ Radis. Now, I think this is interesting. In the fact these are the same fucking people that cheered on Only Me, the guy they ripped off, saying that he's putting a PI on my house. They were like, that's so good. Which again, Only Me, where are you? I've been waiting. Again, fucking loser, man. You mess with the wrong dude. Oh my God. Still looking. Go out all the time. Can't find the guy. I was going to make sweet love to, wait, no, that's not the wrong thing. I was going to take him out and do some other not John Cook type stuff to a guy. I am not paint chips, damn it. Oh, by the way, I heard something interesting today I did not know about. Did you know paint chips got banned from another channel too? Yeah, apparently. So I'm not quite certain what video ended up getting hit. but I'm thinking it's the one where he was trying to say that Hales and JJ Bean, they both had the AIDS. I think it cost him another channel. Dude, so he got butthurt about it. And now he's talking about wanting to subpoena a bunch of people for the Dinesh case. Oh my God. Lord. You can't make this stuff up some days. I'm like, wait a minute. Did I hear that right? Yes, you heard that right. He's wanting to subpoena people now. Oh my God. Give me a second. I saw something on that. Where did I see that? I have to find it. It was here. Let's see. I'm gonna read this to you real quick, just to note that he wants he wants to subpoena. Let's see. He wrote a bunch of people about he said all the people that are involved in the polyflop scheme. He's filing paperwork in which he specifically identifies Jeremy, Randy, and Doreen as individuals whose testimony, documents, drafts, message, and more he wants, because he's saying in another case that somehow, in some way, they're going to be co-conspirators, with the Dinesh thing. That's right. Now, the only little problem with that is that he wrote an email just a couple of weeks ago saying that if Fed2 wasn't dropped, that he would involve himself in a little bit of tit for tat, and he would involve people in litigation. So looks like he's trying that. The funny thing is that I don't really know of a lot of people that, again, has anybody had a communication with Dinesh? Maybe, I don't know, but most people pick up talking about that from just court documentation and posts. Posts that showed the inner workings of their conspiracy. But yeah, apparently Paid Chips is flipping out now after, I guess, maybe because he lost his channel. I don't know, again. But he's trying to tangle them into the Dinesh lawsuit. These people, man, they're just nuts. But anyway, I heard about him losing his channel. I was like, what? And he's already under a permaban. Again, I keep illustrating. Anytime you lose a channel, you're permanently banned from YouTube. You can't just start up another channel. The problem is that the workforce for YouTube now is 60% AI. So they have, between that and workers that are that are non-US, they don't have a lot of US workers anymore. They have them headquartered, but they don't have used to they had call centers like in Texas and other places. Well, they phased a lot of that out for AI, and they've kept their cheaper labor force. So between that, yeah, it makes people like that slip that, as it were. But they apparently are very butthurt about it. And like I said, I do not wish for people to lose channels. These folks, they clearly go well beyond. And like I said, I firmly believe that Paint Chips is the reason that Vomit lost his channel. I don't think it was reporting over it. I think it was backgrounds, because he kept coming in with those backgrounds with, let's say, smexual toys and other items where he had that revenge porn garbage in the background, and that will get you taken down. AI, if it notices that, it'll hit it, and I'm sure it did. So, as far as I'm aware, what is that? Is that 3 or 4 now? I can't keep up anymore. I mean, I'm counting the Volmit one. So I know there was a main one. I thought there was another paint chips one, but I can't remember if that's 2 paint chips or 3. But anyway, I mean, it really, is it worth it? Is it honestly, has it worked out? Because unless they're getting a payday still, like, I don't know. I absolutely don't know. But anyway, let's continue here. So they say that they are stalker when they leave, etc. Fear is real in our lives. And now I'm being harassed by this DJ Radis threatening to come see us. I haven't looked at DJ Radis's post. I don't know if he... when they were talking about the funny thing is when they were talking about the guy who came to the fence, at first some of these antis were trying to say that was DJ Radis. So he made a statement, no, that ain't, or somebody around him. I can't remember if it was DJ Radis directly that said that. I shouldn't say he made a direct statement there, but when it was talked about, there were statements about, if he came to visit, so I don't know, but they lie so much. Unless I see something that directly says something like that, I don't believe it at all, But I'm now letting any of them know, if you come on my property, I will defend my child with my life. Now that I take as a threat, considering what she has called her property. Remember that she has said, not inside the fence is her property, but the outside. Now, I'm not arguing it's not her property. What I'm saying is you can't go pew-pewing people because they walk up outside your fence. Because, see, she has been saying that, and the antis have been egging it on, too, that this area through the fence where it curves in, because they have this push away from the road. They think that gives them the right to do whatever. Like if a person comes up there, that gives them the right to do harm to a human being. And that absolutely does not. Again, a person could be coming up for anything. And these people are announcing bad intentions online. They've been saying this. If somebody gets hurt when they walk up in that area, again, they say that this box right here, the box, by the way, that if you missed out on this wonderful freaking media asset, let's play this together real quick. I kind of love this. Let's just watch the firemen for a second. Look at them there. Look at Travis's amazing reporting, by the way. Look at him. Look, we get to watch it from slower motion. Look at him hosing down the blessing box. I love it. You gotta admit that's amazing. They just happened to test the hoses on the devil blessing box. They're afraid of what might pop out of that sucker. They're like, get back in that blessing box, you nasty thing. Yeah, they've also been saying that that Coop is black. Yeah, they've been like, he's black. Well, at least he pretends to be. And it's like, wait, what? Yeah, they've been saying that they doubled down on the Tina stuff, calling her, saying that she had been arrested. Not calling her. There's a difference, because they want to play the semantic game. If I said, just for example, if I said you're a prostitute or you're a whore, that's different than saying you were arrested for being a. That's different. Okay. The others are insults. Are they crass? Yeah. Do they carry the weight of the weight of a statement that is telling the world that you have been in trouble for that? No. But the second one, and they doubled down on this. They doubled down on that. They doubled down on this idea. She'd been arrested for, for a number of things. And again, what's really bad is that they have been informed that they have the wrong person. And they've just doubled down on it anyway. They don't care. That proves for malicious intent. See, to prove, first of all, Tina is not a public figure, but if you were to argue that because of everything that's gone on, that somehow she would be a limited purpose public figure, you've got to prove that people did this. Again, I would take the argument, I like the argument anyway. If you take a private person and you could prove malicious intent, man, you win. You're winning the game there. But you prove that they either know a statement is false or they don't care if a statement is false. When they're told that they have the wrong person, that they've looked up the wrong person's records, and I am sure of that, by the way. I am definitely sure of that. It's funny because it was something joked about with Tina back when, that there was somebody with her name. See, there's a person I've noted this before, but there's a person in my same town that has my first name, my last name, and my middle initial. Now, we don't have the same middle name, but we have the same middle initial. So if you looked it up, there's a person here with a crazy record. Me, I don't have any record. I've never been in trouble for anything, and they like to pretend that filing bankruptcy is somehow a federal crime, unless Lynette Preston did it. I have filed bankruptcy before, but that is not a crime. I have never actually been in trouble with the law. Let's see. Would you count speeding tickets as being? I mean, they're not there anymore, but I think I've had 2 speeding tickets. I did a cleanup day once in the 1990s. And I think in the early aughts, I had a speeding ticket. I think. I can't even remember anymore. I definitely had one, and I might have had another, or I got pulled over and got a warning. I just can't remember anymore. It's been too long. But the people they compare it to, if they pull the wrong record, and see with that, if somebody tells you, hey, you got the wrong person, when you inform them of that, again, they have made it very clear that they don't care, because they have the ability after that to come back in and say, hey, you know what? This doesn't look like the right person. I got that one wrong. But instead, they figured, fuck it. It's kind of interesting to watch play out. It also motivates people to talk. You see why, like with Lynette Preston, you see why more and more people have come out and talked about her. They talk about 2L. In fact, 2L has had somebody closer to them that has been talking about some stuff off the record about them, and trying to figure out what can be included and stated in that without giving the source away. I've learned some very interesting things, though. Some very interesting things. And we're not talking about online bullshit people just make up. Oh, no. We're talking about some interesting backgrounding. It's funny what comes up, between that and, again, that whole PI thing. It makes you wonder. But anyway, let's go back to our thing and finish off what was said there. 1 second. Because at the end of what she said here, talking about, I defend my property with my life. Then she notes this. Now, let me make this clear, first of all. It is not the place that you live, the county. It is not them that is supposed to go out and to find out whether, or to inform you of a burn ban. They have the obligation. They posted it. They did all this stuff, but they're not the ones burning shit. It's your responsibility. See, we talk about this a lot. Ignorance of the law it's not an excuse for breaking it, unless you're a police officer or Dan Owen, you know. Like Dan Owen can use ignorance of the law for his, for real, like no joke. He could use ignorance of the law to keep his immunity intact. Police officers can use that. But you and I, as ordinary citizens, we cannot use ignorance of the law. So you to say, oh, how would I know? Well, it's your responsibility to know. It doesn't matter. And the thing is, these people could have just eaten shit on this and been like, yeah, whoops, our bad. But they didn't. They've created this thing where they blamed everyone, including Levy County. You know, in Levy County, it's so crazy. What this tells me is that Levy County, they just, certain individuals there, certain people in power have a hate on for Hales, because otherwise they wouldn't tolerate these people. Man, I can't even imagine pulling this where I live. They'll flip the shit out. 1 second here. Why don't they FOIA request? That was asked too. Oh, there will be FOIA, I'm sure. And you know, it's the funny thing about this is that they act like calling the police. See, they called in a fake complaint with Travis, for example. They tried to swat him. That's okay, according to all of them, though. You know, again, they said that he was firing a pew pew right across the street. When the police rolled up, they could have rolled up hard, you know. And if they would have, if they'd have rolled up like this was an issue with a, you know, with a heavily armed bunch of freaking, I mean, you think about it anyway. Many of these people that you see, they are not the sharpest tools in the shed. You've seen some of these officers here, you know, and to have them roll up on somebody, but that was okay. But calling in something that was legitimately a problem, that's apparently stalking. Isn't that interesting? I thought this was a good note on names and stuff with Tina too. So my cousin's ex-father has the same first, middle, last name, and birthday as convicted felon. When he flies, he has to go extra early. One difference is the other guy's black. TSA once asked him if he'd ever been black. Why, yes. Yes. Oh my God. That's pretty funny. That is pretty. I can think of like a million crash jokes I would come across with. Oh my God. But they were like, how could John, have known about this burn ban? You notice it's on John, by the way. Everything's on. It's never on her. They both own the property. It doesn't matter who was burning shit. It's the property owner. So if both of them as property owners, they both got a problem there, you know? You'd think that would be something you would be like, again, this could have simply been on it. Instead of it being 4 days of glorious coverage, which they should keep going, because we haven't even gotten to the spin yet. Oh, the spin last night was glorious too. But instead of making it like a one and done thing and being like, yeah, our bad, whoop-dee, they made it worse. But also on top of it, remember how they went after Travis. See, the issue to me, I don't give a shit that they were burning. I do give a shit that they were burning stuff that potentially makes people sick. In fact, Travis, interestingly, going back, I watched something. Somebody had talked about this, and I was curious about it. So I went back, and there's a part where Travis is discussing feeling sick and dizzy. And these people, again, from the coloration of the smoke there, it does not look like they are burning clean. It looks like they are burning other crap. You know, if you're burning diapers, other items like that, that definitely will release some pretty noxious fumes. So, I mean, through all of that, I might tomorrow read you all that paint chips thing. It is very funny. I had it put in front. I pulled it up in front of me to read a piece of it. It's so funny, like how mad he is, and he's like, "I'm gonna call Jeremy and I'm going to call Randy and Doreen in this other lawsuit. Why? No. They never had any communications whatsoever. Yeah, let me see. It'd be real funny though. You're gonna subpoena everybody. You want to see if you can get a hold of. Watch, he'll try to go after other people's records too. Again, first of all, if you want anyone in that, oh God, that'd be amazing. Yeah, please subpoena Jeremy. Like, let him actually go into a courtroom and talk about what he's dealt with paint chips. Wouldn't that be amazing? That would be absolutely amazing. He should do that. It would be glorious. But she's like, how would I know about the burn ban? None of us here would have known if we don't follow the Levy County Board on Facebook. I do not. Well, again, it's not their responsibility to let you know. And they posted about it. They had posted about it right before that. In fact, you can see the post. We were looking at it the other day quickly. But you can see here where they're posting about it and they're talking about everything. Oh, yeah. Somebody asked if, give me a second. Let me see if I can adjust down in the corner. There was a question about why we don't adjust to the corner. If there are two of us and we're reading a document, it covers the bottom. Now, if it's me, I can contain on the side. So if you remind me, I'll try. I forget to do it. You know, I just forget because it's not the default setting is to pull it up over on beside me, but I can pull it up like this, you know, because I saw a comment asking about that. And I just, the simple reason, like I said, two people, if it's a document, it covers. And if we're watching a video, it covers the closed captions. So that's why we move it to the side. Because if there's two of us, now, if there's one of us, it depends on what it is. Sometimes the video, depending on how it's shot, it'll still mess with the subtitles, but not always. So if I can pull up something like that, just remind me. Because like I said, I also forget. So like on this one, I didn't think about it, but I did see your comment there and I do appreciate it because it is a reminder to me. You know, so here noting press release, they said that Levy County declares local state of emergency and issues county-wide burn ban. Now, the burn ban went into effect on April 8th. So they made it very clear that this, and again, this is what Lynette Preston posted. It's at the bottom of, so to make this clear too, she's her post that she's making here. If you zoom out, she's got all of this at the bottom, you know, talking about it. Well, what's really funny about this is if you look at it, and you notice that it's the same document. She's put 4 of it. It makes it look like there's multiple warnings when it's actually just this one. Her screenshot of it makes it look much, much worse. But it notes, quote, Levy County Board of County Commissioners has declared a local state of emergency due to worsening drought conditions and increased risk of wildlife. Now, John came out, you know, and again, first of all, I also wonder, is burning shit right there on your rescue with all those fumes just bellowing over on that? Is that good for your animals? Well, I don't have to deal with that crap. I got the dump. They actually opened up a branch pretty close to me. It takes me 4 minutes to drive over there. So, and as far as lawn trash and more, you know, we have a way of dealing with that. Unless I have to chop up a tree, that's always a pain. But you know, as far as limbs and other stuff, the thing is, again, it's the irresponsibility and the recklessness of these people. I'm not saying you can't burn stuff, man. You know, I personally, I don't give it, like my neighbors, again, they do it. You know what? I don't worry about my neighbors burning my house down on accident because, you know, they were burning something and poof, But I would worry about John and Michelle burning something down for sure. But it says the action was approved April the 8th under Resolution 2026-10. County officials report that prolonged dry weather, drought indicators, and forecasted winds. And it was a very windy day. They kept noting that. They noted the conditions as dry. What's funny is John Cook talked about how now that everything was wet because the fire department came out, he'd be able to smoke everybody out. So that tells me that before they weren't. They were brittle and dry. You should know with those conditions by themselves that, again, high wind and drought is the problem. You end up, especially places like that, like you look at the area around that. If you're curious about Otter Creek, really look it up on Google Earth just to see the surroundings. Because a fire, if it gets out of control there, man, everything burns. Everything. And there's not a lot of cleared area with them versus, again, if it got out of control there, it wouldn't take long at all for it to hit a tree line and to start something that would be out of control. And that would be terrible. It'd be terrible. Because you think about the tragedy. Okay, they don't give a shit about the people across the road. Okay, well, they have other humans that are around. On top of that, they have all those animals that they have too. And again, we've seen pictures where they're burned set up. And not only that, how they burn. The shots that we got from I Watch So You Don't Have To that reminded us, in fact, of them having their giant bonfire back when they were doing their, give me a second. I like shouting out I Watch So You Don't Have To as well. I take any opportunity I have, just to be honest. But here, check this out. So their burn area too. We actually have seen it, but we've also seen how they burn. You got to remember, they were drinking on the night that they were burning. This was, by the way, a child's supposed Christmas party. Remember that we're going to look at here too. So I'm noting that as we pull this up. Damn it, it does not want to. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to see if it'll lock in. There we go. Ugh. Ooh, it's got sound. I'm going to turn off the sound. Okay, so I'm going to show you this. There we go. Finally, the sound. It kept wanting to autoplay on me for some reason. All right. Here, you can see their burn area, and you can see how what they thought would be good to go, And you can imagine, again, in high wind, you can just imagine what God, I can't imagine having these people as my neighbors, man. But you can see that there. Let me see. Look at that, though. Again, this was supposed to be a kid's celebration. So people they create a giant bonfire and get drunk around it. Yeah, woo, kids, I hate these people. I really do. So selfish, man. All right. So you have, again, they clear up what a burn ban means too. They actually make sure to let you know. So if there's any confusion. And again, when they lay it out, they actually, with the posting, if anybody sees this, they may think, well, that's might not be as easy to spot. Well, again, they have a letter at the bottom. So the letter says the same thing. I'm going to pull the letter up for you, okay? That way you can see it on an official letterhead. Now, I've taken away the phone numbers and stuff, but this is what it's telling you. They're repeating the Levy County here, celebrating 250 years. Wouldn't it be amazing if it was just an ash pile for their 250 years because of John Cook? Wouldn't that be amazing? So it says, what does it mean? Effective immediately, the following activities are prohibited. Now, here, again, they have included for this, I didn't look at the old one, but they noted that any activity that includes flames or sparks, including fireworks or sparklers, is noted. Now, I've not looked at their other, but the Levy County Police said, we don't know if that would have been a problem, that firework. But if that was a violation of the burn ban, okay. When Travis was doing that, again, they were calling for him to go to jail because of that, which is so stupid, by the way. But if that, again, I think turnabout's fair place. I think John Cook should go put himself in jail. He should just voluntarily, he should have a problem with his conscience there. He should voluntarily check him into jail. Because they're not hypocrites, right? But they say burning of yard debris, trash, household paper products, bonfires, campfires, warming fires, outdoor fireplaces, land clearing fires, cooking fires. Also here, anything that creates flames or sparks. Allowed. What would be allowed, by the way? You can have cooking within an enclosed gas or charcoal grill, used according to manufacturer instructions and attended at all times. Now, you notice too, the crazy thing was when they were burning, it took all this time to let the fire department in. John Cook says that the reason that is to go in to secure the dog to put it up. And I kept thinking, that's supposed to be, again, a service dog. This service dog spends all its time outside. It's not around the person it provides service for. It's just so strange. Like every time they leave, you notice when they pull up, we've seen a video of that. You notice the dog is on the other side. And they talked about the reason that they had to put up that second box was to keep the dog inside because of the gigantic holes that, well, anybody could crawl through. And it looks like, Lynette, you use a shock collar on it. Also, I will note that as well again. And if you're like, well, shock collar, that's okay with an animal, right? Okay, well, not with a service animal. You don't typically shock service animals. Service animals should not. Let's eliminate the pain. Let's just say you kept it in the lowest setting possible. You don't want to create anxiety and fear. Now, if you're like, well, if they could get loose, Tug, well, don't be an irresponsible jackass. Actually, if you have a service animal, you should be able to keep it around the person it's providing service for. I do not think that is a service animal, by the way. Honestly, I have, when I was younger, I've talked about this before. My stepfather, or one of my stepfathers, he would raise dogs. We would train them it depended on the dogs, but we raise police dogs. He did a contract with, I can't remember if it was Metro Davidson that they did it with, or if it was one of the outlier communities. I can't remember, but it was in Nashville. I mean, they had a contract for raising so many dogs, and also did specific types of service dogs. They came in and we did not raise them. There was another place that they did training, but they had the way this was set up for raising or for training the police dogs. They would come in, they would use the setup, and we would also work with service dogs. And the one thing, you didn't just buy a dog and call it a service dog, man. A lot of time, effort goes into those animals. So do I believe they have a certain? No, I do not. But they call it that all the time. And if you're going to call it that, but you know what would undo, again, if you've trained an animal to be a service animal, and then you showcase pain compliance, anxiety. If it's anxious, see if it provides service, but it's afraid at certain locations on your property, that undoes part of the service, Now, again, she can address that if she'd like. I'm sure they will. They'll be like, it's all good. Okay. But anyway, so they also said through here that agriculture, land clearing burns authorized by a valid state permit, properly permitted fireworks displays conducted by municipality or the county with fire protections, emergency flares, and authorized firefighter training. Now, violations of the burn ban is a second-degree misdemeanor. Now, remember, they wanted Travis jailed for throwing a couple of fireworks. Okay. But they directly violated the burn ban. That is a second-degree misdemeanor. In addition, anyone responsible for an illegal burn may be billed for the cost of emergency response and fire suppression. So fire suppression had to come out. Is Levy County going to eat the cost? Because, well, let's just say I've been hearing some interesting stuff about their cops. Again, maybe I'll talk to the person that told me about it. Maybe they'll tell us ourselves. Because there was a very interesting discussion. Did you know Levy County law enforcement is telling citizens, by the way, when they have a conversation with them, that they cannot record the call, that is against the law? Did you know that? Isn't that interesting? That when you call them and you're talking to them, they tell you, even though they operate and they record you, for God knows what, they tell citizens that they cannot record them under penalty of law, which is absolutely incorrect. If you are talking to a law enforcement personnel, you have every right to record them. But they are telling people, yeah, you know more, indeed. Indeed, Donna's mom, indeed. Yeah, we might have to have a conversation about that. I think that would be interesting. Isn't it amazing? They're telling people though, because they, why would law enforcement tell you that you can't record? Because they're probably telling you shit that's wrong. They're telling you things that they don't want a record of, which is amazing to me. Yeah, so Max Lab Tug. I used to volunteer firefighter years ago, and it's possible for Levy County to bill. Yeah, that's what it. I mean, I wonder if they do. I mean, it's almost like services rendered. Yeah, SF. Don't all service dogs have vests like harnesses? They usually indicate that there's usually an indication that way. Not all dogs will have, but let's go with it this way. If you have a dog that is properly trained and you want to identify them, yes, you when you take them out, it makes it worlds easier. Now, do people have to identify them all the time? I guess it'd be where you're at. Like the laws were much different back then. I don't know about new laws with service animals. In fact, I mean, we're talking a long time ago. Let's say, as a teenager, we were talking a long time ago. It feels like a whirl ago. So I would have to look up new laws on everything. And like I said, we didn't, as far as service animals, we didn't finalize training or anything. That was just part of. It was interesting to see how service animals were trained, because there was so much rigid requirement in it, to go out and to prepare for all the needs. Service. That was one problem. They got a dog as a puppy and they started calling it a service animal right away. That's not a service animal. Like right away, that is not. Why? Because who trained it? No one. You just you buy it and call it a service animal. That's bullshit. Now, if you were trying to say that it was for some therapy need or whatever, but that's not what they're indicating. They're indicating that it's her service animal. or service animal that runs wild. Just nuts. But yeah, so the fire ban, by the way, so they noted it was you could be billed for it, and the local state of emergency and the burn ban will remain in place for 7 days unless lifted sooner and maybe extended in 7-day increments if hazardous conditions continue. Now, again, I typically wouldn't give a shit about this at all. You know, why would I, honestly? But I do give a shit because of, again, they tried to put somebody, they cheerleaded having Travis arrested for this. It wasn't just wanting him to get it. I mean, it was something else. Give me 1 minute. I'm going to pull up last night the discussion about it. Wow. There was a lot about, oh my God. These people, man. Remember, fire ban, it's not a big deal now. Not a big deal. But it was a big enough deal to put them in jail. And the stuff, too, that they said about Tina, I got that here, too. Check this out. I want to show you this real quick. Give me a minute. I'm adjusting it. That's what's taking a minute. I'm making sure you can read it. Here we go. So look at what they said here. Big Tina. You know, I'm going to say if your version of a good person, by the way, is helping bilk multiple people out of thousands of dollars for a memorial that you will never, ever fucking see, and promising people they would, that's not a definition of a good person. And if a definition is of a bad person to them is somebody that actually tells people about their plots, about how they were plotting behind the scenes with and really, you know, we're not talking about like, oh, I'm going to name and shame somebody or something. We're talking about a protected party, having somebody doing all that, and Lynette's just blathering that while attacking this person relentlessly whenever she has a weird or a paranoid day, and fuck all that noise. But he's like, nobody cares about her. Oh my God. I just wanted to let people know what she's about. Who gives a shit about that prostitute? And she's saying again that she was arrested for that. She probably worked with Diddy. Oh my God. You're a nobody, but you what an idiot. By the way, you know, Tina, you could have flagged that freaking live stream down with a privacy complaint. I'd make it very clear, you know, if they want to fake falsify things, because that's straight up falsification of record. It's just they don't even care. They've been told it's fake. Like they can look it up, but they don't want to. Why? Because that would that would cause problems there, right? So here they're like, the fire. Oh my God, the fire. Oh, look, there was a fire on Michelle's property. As usual, when John Burns leaves, they're dead or branches that are dead from the cold, especially over winter. Burn pile. And he does it all the time. Yeah, he does it all the time. You know, like anytime Travis comes over, he has a need to burn trash and, I'm sorry, leaves and branches. You'll notice in the Travis videos, it's always when you can see them when they start them. They don't even camouflage the idea that they are doing it for harassment. And John noted that too. Which again, I think is interesting because they say over and over that Travis is quote unquote employed by Jeremy Hales. If he's employed by Jeremy Hales, if you truly believe that, then you are harassing the employees of a protected person. If that's what you truly believe. Look at this. Just to say, by the way, that he made it very clear that it's all about harassment there. Because he says, first of all, this was his comment on this. You've seen this, but still, I'll make it big enough. I saw people screenshot from me. There's the whole statement if you want to pause it and screen, because I cover the bottom here because I hate even putting those kind of freaking statements on the screen for too long, because that's what you call a life ruination tactic. You know, you call people ARPists, or you call them child predators. The reason that they do that is not, again, it's not like calling somebody a name. Those labels are the worst types of labels. They are made not only to try to ruin you, to ruin your business and reputation, but it makes it okay for anyone to do anything to you. And you know, that label is the worst label that you can ever have attached to you. I mean, people in prison consider you a viable target. Monsters consider you the lowest rung, and with good reason, by the way. But monsters even look down on that monster. So that allows other people out there to come in, and it's not just about discredit. It's about getting someone hurt. And, you know, we already know that it's not them just using a word on Travis either, because we know that Lynette I heard your call, by the way, Lynette. I heard it myself. You know, I heard that part where you were calling around and trying to say that Travis. Well, let me put it this way. How many people did you call, Lynette? How many? Because they were trying to imply that Travis was doing something terrible with minors. Well, when you had the person's parent come out and have to defend and say, look, you know, I understand. Look, when kids like that know my kids find out that, you know, all of us parents are boring, right? But when they find out you have something interesting, like a YouTuber, oh my God. When they find out I have a channel and it works, and this is what I do for a living, you know, like, oh my God, you know, and they want to hear more about it. And, you know, depending on who they are and stuff, I'll tell them more about it, of course. You know, you want to encourage kids if they, you know, you want to encourage them the responsible way, and you also want their parents to understand the dangers of it and everything too, you know. But Travis, on top of that, he has all of his motorcycle stuff. He's been able to live on his terms, and people will find that interesting. And on top of that, you had a child with special needs, I'll say, and those needs, they constantly need attention and affection, and a lot of people won't give that. And he's giving it a positive way, and they tried to ruin that. They tried to say it was something terrible. And John, this is John Cook's go-to. Meanwhile, you have Lynette Preston that has said so many things about him hating women and being abusive and all of these terrible things about him and this kid. And the antis will roll with John Cook's words, but they won't run with Lynette Preston's words. But he said, emergency my ass. They put the burn band, like getting the band back together. I like that, though. Actually, I think that's funny. The burn band. It does sound like a group of people to get together and insult other folks, you know? The burned band in place yesterday without notifying. All they did was show up, inform me. They asked me if they could put it out. I said, okay. Oh, yeah. It's voluntary, John. It's voluntary, I'm sure. I'm sure they were like, hey, buddy, you know? They showed up with a fire truck. You absolute piece of garbage. They were more interested in why I had the shade cloth so high. And I got to tell them because they like, now the way this is worded, by the way, it sounds like he's saying that the firefighters do this, doesn't it? Like when I read this yesterday, you know, when Travis was on, I thought, oh my God, that sounds like he's accusing the firefighters. Because listen to this, you know, they asked me that, and I got to tell them because they like to film. So when you're talking about a group of people and then you use the word they, They like to film a 6-year-old girl that's sick in them. But they got their content. No big shit, LOL. Now, Travis said that that the firefighters, the way that they acted after all of that, that was probably what was said. He could tell that there was something off when they went in versus when they came out. You know? But this is just yet more. I mean, these people say that they don't accuse people of that kind of stuff. And yet you see evidence of it all the time. Prove to me when I've ever said anything like that. Well, okay, there you go. And you also said them. When you say they, rather, not them, but they, them, I don't pronounce it. When you say they, you're talking about, you're not talking about Travis's the way he identifies. You're talking about multiple people. You're saying they as in Travis, and you're saying Jeremy Hales too. So this will be yet another piece of proof. See, if these folks are so in pausing Fed 1, they have allowed the gathering of more and more information that I'm sure will be added. Oh, you never say anything like that? Are you sure? Are you guys quite sure you never say anything about that? Because again, you can tell. And then he says this stuff. I don't make excuses. I don't make excuses. All we've seen for the last few days are excuses, by the way. They have been excuses. Again, if he would have just ate that and been like, hey, yeah, I burned some stuff, who cares? I violated burn ban, who cares? Not a big deal. Whoops. But no, it didn't go that way. I don't make excuses, but while I'm at it, so I started the fire because it's going to rain. That's not what the burn ban says. The burn ban says that you are under drought conditions, not that it's raining there. By the way. It says the conditions are very bad. That if you burn stuff, you may end up burning down, well, everything. So it's a good day to burn. What I was burning was a nice, clean, quick fire. By the way, here, let me look at something. I want to pull something up for you real quick, okay? You're talking about the weather condition. Let's look at that video with that Travis put up. Because he says, well, it was going to rain that day. I'm looking at it. So give me one second, call. So they can investigate the weather, supposedly, but they can't look into... you know why, though? They don't care if they violate the law. Because they don't think anybody will ever hold them accountable. By the way, somebody was asking, there are people that don't know Travis's, actually, he's gotten up to 24,000 views on that. I'd like to see him continue to get more and more views with that. Now, it's hard to tell if it does not look overcast for rain there. Actually, if I were just looking at it, at first I was going to say it does, but then I noticed that was all smoke. So actually, this is what it looked like that day, by the way, just to say. You can see it there. And again, if somebody, his channel is What Ya Doing, the WHATCHA, What Ya Doing Willis. 3 words. If somebody would put up a link, if some mods would, that would be great. Because I really would like Travis to try, Travis tries not to, I tell him, I just straight up, I'll say this. I tell him, these people are going to bring drama to your door, make it a paycheck. I believe in that firmly. Somebody wants to bring drama to me, I will monetize the shit out of them. So I believe he should, but look at all that smoke, by the way. You can just see it when it starts up. Look at this. Look at it behind there. Look at the coloration. Look at how dingy it looks. Look at it back there. I mean, look at that. Look at how dark that is. There's no way that's just a bunch of dry sticks Dry leaves? No way. No way. You can say, and imagine being downwind from all that too. I mean, this is the day they're burning, but they're saying, you know, it's going to rain for sure. I mean, how could you tell with all that smoke? Again, they've been under drought conditions. Look at that fence, man. People were interested. I bet you, how much you want to bet that the firefighters didn't ask, by the way, why you got that ratty ass fence up like that? You know? How much you want to bet they were like, oh, the guy across the street, blah, blah, blah. And they were talking shit about Travis. Because again, you know, they were wanting to blame Travis for calling the police. Now, she has inappropriately alleged multiple times now that Travis is stalking them. He has every right, by the way, to record over there. They're recording them. They're recording everything they do. They walk out in the middle of the street and record it a lot of times. Here, let's put up some more. Give me a second. Again, go and watch his video. You can really see it. And you can see the coloration of it. And go and compare that to clean burns. And you tell me, is that a clean burn? But Travis also is talking about, you know, feeling sick sometimes. Hey, look at that. Just in the back there. But he was talking about the day. You know, we're talking about the way the day looked. Look at that smoke. He's making jokes about smoke signals. He's a funny video maker. I like Travis. I think he's funny. You know, I actually like him. I've talked to him about stuff. Like I said, I put my, and you see when the fire department rolls up, you know, they're, again, they have no idea who called. Travis is out here goofing off. These people start a fire and they're like, well, here's what I don't understand, by the way. They said that Travis, they had been set up. So are they admitting that every time Travis comes down there that they start fires? Is that what it is? So how would he set them up otherwise? But yeah, I mean, look at that behind there. It's crazy, isn't it? Let's see. Look at that. And they sit out there, you know, he cuts out a bunch of it before they get into the gate. I don't think, I think he said he cut some of it down. You know, you see them also sitting there. They're setting up the hose test. Like I said, when they did the hose test, I just thought it was funny. They do the hose test in the box, but look how long they wait around, you know, look how long it takes for the gate to get opened up. And he said by the time, you know, when they come up, they just act different, standoffish. So Cook, he's saying that he says this so much about people that I'm sure that he says that to people as well when they're out. So anyway, Cook said it looked like a good day. It's going to rain. What I was burning was a nice, clean, quick pile. Now, when I burn next time, the piles that I have will be soaking wet, and they will smoke the shit out of everybody. Remember, by the way, it's not really just Travis being bothered with smoke. Hey, he's doing this to everybody around. He does it all the time. Man, Travis should go down there every single day. So these people have to burn shit every day and smoke their neighbors out as a consequence. That way, the neighbor's like, God. But he's like, oh, I'm going to smoke everybody. That's all your neighbors and everything else. He's bragging about it. He's like, I'll be laughing my ass off. So again, they're admitting why they do this. So to say it's just John Cook that burns clean. Okay, so let's go back to that. Because again, they make it sound like, oh, it's just no big deal. He does whatever, you know. It's a burn pile. He does it like, well, there's been a burn ban. But the burn ban was lifted, like, I don't know, two weeks, a week ago, like 3. Well, was it that long ago anyway? I remember when it was lifted because remember Travis letting off fireworks. And they came and told him there was a burn ban, right? So anyway, they leave out the part again where they cheerleaded the idea that Travis, again, should go to jail for that. They were like, it's a violation of the law. They should put him in jail. He's a criminal. I mean, they were cheerleading him going to jail for setting off firecrackers for super chats. If that is jailable, again, why wouldn't this be? No. They were like, so Travis, but John, the burn ban was lifted, and John has been, burning his stuff like it normally does, like a lot of people in Otter Creek. And all of a sudden, was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. So he's, he's burning leaves. Jeremy drives by. Yep, look, there's Jeremy. Oh no, me no, Jeremy. See, it's amazing. These people are like this. Yeah, you know what? John was just I'm going to use a different person's name. Person X, I'm going to say, was just going in the bank to make an unscheduled withdrawal. With a pew pew, and then Jeremy drove by and reported it. Obviously, he's a stalker. I mean, what the fuck? It's the same idea. Again, these are not, they have said online. They said online for months. By the way, too, they're blaming Tina now for all the stuff that happened between them and Michelle. Remember when they talked about how they worried about the child? About them, their education and more, around how Michelle Preston is irresponsible. There people were talking about how she was an ungrateful piece of garbage because she didn't appreciate the fence. You remember all of that? Remember how she said she was ungrateful for anything that people ever give her? You even had Ray do a stream talking about how, she's a big girl and she can do things on her own now. When they all turned on, now apparently all of that is supposed to be Tina's fault. So, well, are you telling me that somehow not only did Tina supposedly get Michelle Preston to do all of this, but now somehow she influenced them into saying all of that too? Are they telling me it wasn't true then? That they lied? Because they motivated. Again, you had people that were in their chat talking about going up there and ripping out pieces of the fence and reclaiming it. Are we supposed to pretend that didn't happen anymore? I'm really curious about that, by the way, because that's been coming up. That was also part of the last streaming. It was also supposed to be there. But, all of a sudden, was it yesterday? Jeremy drives by. We got him driving by at first. We got him. He's driving by on the road in front of his property. Oh, my God. What a piece of trash. The next thing you know, the fire department comes because somebody called them and bitched about illegal burning. Who do you think that was? Gee, could it be the dirt bag who owns 70 acres? Huh. Again, it was okay to call on Travis, who was setting off fireworks, and illegally accused him of having a pew-pew because he didn't have one, and doubled down on it, saying that she had it on video. It does. Again, you should go back and listen to that 911 call, because that thing, it's something else. It is something. Give me 1 minute. Let's see. I don't remember if I have that. I've got it saved, but I don't know if I have it. I don't know if I have it saved as. So let me see. Again, I am curious about that. I'll have to dig that up because we need to listen to that again, for sure. Oh no. I just heard something. Oh my God. 1 minute. I just heard some crazy news. Just give me a second, okay? Oh, Lord. All right. We'll see if that turns into anything. I know that was random and vague, but well, I'm going to show you what that person that just mentioned had to say, and I showed you those screenshots. That's what they're talking about. Let's say, just zoom in. A neighbor did call the fire department. Travis did not, because everyone was blaming Travis for calling, and they did, by the way. Not only everybody, they came out with a narrative, including Michelle, that said that was part of Travis stalking, In fact, actually, we have that. Give me a second. I'll show you. So she claimed that Travis he was the one that did it for sure. See? She said that, good morning, I'd like to address a pressing concern regarding our community. Unfortunately, our community, by the way, this is meant to go out. She breaks the law. So she puts this out to Otter Creek because that's her MO, Instead of addressing anything else, she has to say, well, Shane Travis Willis has been spreading false information about her household. He consistently creates content on YouTube by fabricating emergencies and harassing us. Recently, the burn ban was lifted, but due to poor communication from our local authorities, we were unaware that a new ban had been. So that is actually a terrible wording, by the way, because the way they make it sound is that the burn ban was lifted, but no, there was a burn ban in effect, period. So they say through this, consequently, John was burning limbs on our property, which prompted Willis to call the fire department, falsely claiming an emergency. Again, it is a violation of the burn ban. If he would have called, that would have been totally legit. But they went with 100% Travis did do it. So when they say, yeah, they lied. They lied. Now, does Travis care? No, not really. But they just lie about everything, dude. But Travis, it didn't. Now, which ruggedly is ruggedly? I don't even know how to spell handsome neighbor. she couldn't say ruggedly. Oh God. They even know what the word ruggedly means. Oh my God. Now I will butcher all kind of stuff, Give me 1 minute. I'm trying to pull up the chat. I lost the chat for a second. I lost you guys. Sorry about that. I like to see what y'all are talking about too. Yeah, did I see Travis's blessing box? Yes, we can show that in a minute too. It's beautiful, by the way. It is absolutely beautiful. Actually, you know what? His last video, if you all have not checked that out, by the way, mark it because you need to see it. He's making a blessing box for the area over there. It's awesome looking. Michelle Preston and John Cook. Well, Michelle Preston reported that John Cook was using the blessing box about 4 months ago, but everybody that used it, they had already gone to jail. So it was like, interesting. So, but ruggedly handsome neighbor called to report illegal burning. Look at that. Look at the transcript. Usually the transcript will cut out laughter and stuff. Oh my God. But it's so bad. That sound. It does really. I was listening to a walrus. It really does fit. The PR team getting worked up. Did you hear the ego in this effing a-hole? So anyway, I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. I know, Jeremy. I'm sorry, man. I know you don't have a swimmer's body. Oh my God. You hear the ego on him? Like totally, he's not like me. I've got a swimmer's body. Holy shit. And I'm like, okay, I'm totally admitting it. Whoops. Well, first of all, are you saying that he can't call 911 when they're illegally burning? Is that what you're saying? And are you saying, you know what's amazing here? They're saying that any men around there, there's only one man that's ruggedly handsome. Isn't that interesting? So they agree he's ruggedly handsome, you know? Isn't that fun? I know there are neighbors who didn't want their 70 acres to burn up in flames. Gee, I wonder who called. I wonder. Now, again, that actually is not what that says. It doesn't say that he called, but it is playing with them. Did he call? Now, he very could have to report illegal activity. But when you read this, what it says is, our neighbor did call the fire department. Travis did not. Now, which ruggedly handsome neighbor called to report illegal burning? Again, you know? Are they saying that he's a ruggedly handsome? Wow, that's nice of them. I told you, when they're like, the reason that they try to say bad things about him is because they have a crush on him. They do. I'm sorry, Jeremy. I know. They probably have like a cuddle buddy. They've probably taken a cuddle buddy pillow, you know, those big long pillows, and they probably have one with your face on it, Jeremy. I'm sorry, dude. They probably even have a loofah color named after you. Gross. Gross. Oh, sorry. Oh my God. That would be hilarious. Jeremy, what you need to make, you need to take a loofah and you needed to put like shocked googly eyes on it and a shocked mouth, like, and sell those. That would be hilarious. Then he says, though, I know there are neighbors who didn't want their 70 acres to be burned up in flames. That is not connected to that. This actually says neighbor. And then it says, well, there are neighbors who don't want their property burned up. Does he not? Does he want his property burned? Absolutely not. I wouldn't want it either. Now, you know, through that statement there does not state that he called. You can assume that. And they assume because, again, they think he is handsome. They love Jeremy. But, like, so they got to film Travis when the fire department, Travis was right there. And I'm like, oh, my God. Oh, this is funny. Now, I, of course, have the drive-by when they came in, but basically what happened was they went to John, and I told him there was, a burn ban's in effect, which kind of didn't make any sense because it's been raining for 3 days. Look, those damn Levy County, they set him up. They knew that he liked to burn trash and debris, so they put it in there. It's a setup. I mean, even though it's been raining for 3 days, they said, oh, John. I'm waiting for that video. You know, remember how they said John Cook pulling out a pew-pew on a car full of people, including a small child? That somehow was that was a setup. Well, apparently this is a setup too. Just wait. If he gets fined, can't wait for that one. But, like, you know, it was like 4 days. So John was like, oh, all right, cool. Yeah, I'm sure he was like, all right, cool. I'm sure he was. I'm sure he was just like, and they're like, you want us to put that out? Yeah, I'm sure that's how it went. By Jove, you have a fire. I'm sure it was like this, just like they explained it. Oh, cheerio, chap. Would you like us to put out your fire? Why, yes, please. Oh, Lord. These people, man. These people are so dumb. But, oh, Lord. You notice how they minimize everything. Like if it would have been, if we reverse this, remember the Travis stuff again with him throwing fireworks? They had days of talking shit about him. And now, well, when this is again reversed, it's just like, no big deal. It's just there. And that's it. They left. Oh, you spanked him, baby John. It's not like they put a big ass sirens. You're like, oh, burn ban. Oh, you remember the fire drills? Oh my God. They're like, they need to have giant fire sirens to let John Cook know that there was a burn ban in effect. Not for Travis, again. It doesn't go, see, again, it's the hypocrisy of it all. That's what makes this interesting to me. Because like I said, Travis's ignorance of the law and popping off a couple of fireworks, that should have, according to them, put him in jail. But turn it around and say that that this guy's actually burning things. Like, no question, is it fire? Oh, it's all legit. They should have put out a massive fire siren and played it everywhere. That way John Cook himself could find out. Isn't that amazing? Well, I don't know what you call the drills, but the sirens there, alerts. What I'm saying is, like, there's not a siren, or fire ban in effect. There's nothing like that. So, but it's fine. Oh, well, last time John did it, so I don't know. Jeremy must be stalking. Yeah, here. Do you feel like? Here's a weird question. When you look at the pictures there, do you think you have to be a stalker to figure out that somebody is burning shit over there? I mean, again, look at those. Look at the smoke and stuff that's coming over the fence. I mean, even in this, look, and you saw it before when you had just huge plumes of smoke just blotting out the sky. Do you feel like you have to be a stalker to notice that there's fire burning here? And again, when they were called, they were burning a lot of shit. It looks like he tried to minimize it when he found out that the fire trucks. Oh no, yeah, whoops. But isn't that interesting? You apparently have to be a stalker with it, huh? So, here's a question then. If we turn this around, you remember when Travis was throwing fireworks? Does that mean that Travis was being stalked? Oh man, I forgot to turn. My bad. I meant to do this too. Totally my bad. Does that mean though that Travis was being stalked? Because the Tina and Brian Tina, she turned around and according to Lynette Preston, called Lynette Preston, told Lynette Preston that, oh, there's these sounds over there. Oh my God. Lynette Preston calls in a 911 call saying that she has it on video that he is firing a pew pew across the street without any type of burn, any kind of backdrop on it. So that's something people were asking about too, especially outside of the U.S. It depends on the area, but some like where I live, some people are like, well, you can't fire a gun, blah blah blah. Man, where I live, like I said, right now, I have neighbors. You can see my neighbors, they're around, but I could walk out the screen door right here. I have I have a pistol over here beside me, and I could take out the pistol. I could fire it into the backdrop out there. I wouldn't do it this way just because it's unsafe to do it without checking the area first. But legally, I could walk out the door, pew pew. That's fine. But what they tried to indicate was that they're essentially accusing him of firing recklessly, and with the way they were making it sound that that rounds may come over onto their property. And they doubled down again. Is that stalking though? Was that stalking by Tina and Brian? That Tina. Since there's multiple Tinas, I try to say the Tina and Brian Tina. Was it stalking by her? Was it stalking by Lynette Preston? Because again, they keep saying that somebody noting behavior is stalking. The difference is, again, that when they called that in, their call was a fake call. They ended up having a little out given to them by Levy County, who brought up burn ban, which again, they latched onto for dear life because they thought it gave them some type of way to go after Travis. Instead, what it did was set them up for this, which is actually quite funny. Their own wording, their own stupid set them up for this. But he must be stalking and trying to make sure what I didn't do about whatever. Or maybe he's just watching because he also watches like all the groups. The fire department. Wait. So Jeremy Hales? I'm confused by this. So he knew he keeps up to date. Their excuse is he keeps up to date and actually knew there was a burn ban in effect. And somehow that's stalking. Okay. That's weird. So they put the fire out. He probably read or did whatever because they stalked the shit out of all these social media pages and stuff. Wait, I thought, what? I don't. So Jeremy found what is this? So if they put the fire ban, okay. So yeah, it's stalking to keep informed of what the police and laws. So they're saying that not only is he stalking John Cook and Lynette Preston, but he's apparently stalking the police and the fire department because he's knowledgeable on what's happening in the community. That's such a bizarre fucking thing to say. Again, these people, they want to criminalize everything. So anyway, they knew about it. Jeremy called them. Oh, it was ridiculous. Stop the presses. Yeah. John lighting a fire. He says it took me longer to catch my dog and put her away than it took for the firemen to get out the hose and put it out. Yeah, he makes this statement here, talking about the dog. And again, I find the dog statements funny because they tell you that the person that the dog supposedly provides service for is never around the dog, which is absolutely ridiculous. They promoted it when people asked them about the cost of the dog, because the cost of the dog, came up. It's an expensive type dog. And, these are people again who were saying they had nothing. They had no money. They get this expensive dog. They flex it. People question it. They're like, oh, it's service dog. That's why we have it. We have it for our other kid because she has needs. She has to have a service animal. Oh, okay. But service animal, quote unquote, service animal, running around all the time, slap a collar on it so it doesn't get away. Bucket. Right. It's just telling you so. But what's funny about it is why I made the thumbnail. I was like, are you kidding me? When is this crap going to stop? How long are they going to use this content and promote it like some major every time something happens, mofo, every time. Because that's what they should do. If these people will not stop fucking around with their lives, every single thing should be noted. Because that's, again, they put out video of Jeremy Hales driving down the road. Jeremy Hales, they lied about it too. I took a video recently, in the last 2 weeks, I think, and showcased how Jeremy was talking to Travis about their fires, how they're smoking people out, and how he was yelling to Travis, saying, "Man, they're doing this, they're doing that." And they came up, they put the video out, and they were like, "Look at him yelling at Michelle, saying she's destroying the environment." And he's like, "No." So they use him driving down the road for content. So anything that comes up, fuck yes. Forever. Forever. Like, how would you judge in Ohio not see? This man clearly doesn't. They're saying too, look, because if he called the police because of the fire ban, that he obviously driving by and calling somehow means that he's not afraid of these folks. They also did that video that we saw the other day, with the horn blaring. And again, it's a 2-part video. They only want to talk about the first part. They only talk about the part where John's sitting out there ramming on his horn. They don't talk about the second part where he doesn't pull in. Instead, he goes down the road, stops in front of Jeremy's driveway there, and just sits there. And they brushed it off as, again, their excuse for that was John all of a sudden had a Tums emergency, had to pull over right there at Jeremy's property, a protected person's property, because he had a Tums issue. So they're like, well, he's not scared enough. That is so insane, you know? Jeremy's just doing this every day. Every day. Oh my God. Again, you look at this. It's so crazy. The spin on it. There's been days of spin trying to act like that it's somehow sick and insane that the police were called. When again, just a few weeks ago, these folks were talking about putting Travis in jail because of a burn ban. It amazes me. And they're like, oh my God, you know, every little thing, every little thing. They also said that, oh man, they got something on him. Know what I'm saying? We got something. It's all hush hush though. But he's doing something we're totally going to get him for. Can't talk about it now though. Can't talk about it at all. It's so fucking stupid, man. They were, look, check this out. Here it is. Let me throw this in, then I'm going to be done. Look at this. Let me see. Here it is. So they were like, not only is he doing illegal shit, he's got Travis doing it too. It's like, if I mention it, they're going to change it up. They're not going to be held accountable. So I'm not going to. I will once they're held accountable. And then that kind of sucks. But trust me, we got him. We got him. Again, they're accusing people of stalking and shit, but they're like, you know what? Back on his property somewhere, something illegal's going on. Now, how would you know what's happening on his property? Who's been back recording? Oh, yeah, John Cook's been recording his property, right? So, again, they've been stalking, hoping that they can find anything whatsoever to cause problems for Jeremy Hale. These people are fucking nuts. And this is not going to stop. I'm just telling you. When people are like, oh, man, Jeremy is, he has a different mindset, I think you can see. Again, I'm not saying this by knowledge, like saying that I've talked to him about this. I'm just saying from observation. He seems to have a different mindset from before. Because when these people stepped in and tried to do damage, he was hoping that going through the judicial system would make him stop. Because most people think that the judicial system will intercede on your behalf, and they'll do it quickly. And unfortunately, with civil matters, they'll let this shit happen forever. It's so, if you watch false accusations, for example, against folks, when they take them to court, you'll notice that you'll get an update on somebody talking about how they didn't respond because they sued a person, right? And they won't give you a response to some horrible thing that's been alleged about them for 3 years or more. And unfortunately, by then, their reputations and their careers, they have been shattered. So Hale's tried to stop these folks. And if the judicial system is like, we're not going to do anything about it, then there are other ways to stop it. You can legally use their own methods. use them against them. I think, I think it's a wake up call for a lot of people out there, though, and just how awful these people are. They stalk their property. They do anything there, and then of course they play the victim. So let me show you, by the way, the blessing box too. I meant to bring it up, and you should watch the video itself where he's putting this thing together, because it's really awesome. He's going in and prepping. Give me a second here. He's creating a blessing box itself. I like the idea. I like putting a blessing box out with everything else. But look, he's prepping this. He's taking it. He's actually, look at the amount of work. And again, give this some love. Because look, he took it. It had rust and everything on it. And he's going in and he's giving it some well-deserved love. He's going in, cleaning it out, cleaning it up, turning it into something, repurposing the thing. And I love it. I love the idea that you could take something, set it out there, it looked good, and just repurpose this thing instead of it being like a long forgotten eyesore, that you could actually do something with everything there. I love, like I said, I love Travis and the stuff he does. And to be honest, like, again, through this, one of the positives that I've had is I've gotten to know some of these folks. Typically throughout a story, if it goes on long enough and you try to find out things here and there, you talk to people, you get a feel for them. And like with Travis just wants to go out. Travis wants to have fun. He wants to be able to let people see what he's doing and enjoy it. He wants to create something that helps others. And I kind of admire. Again, I cover so many horrible people that it's nice to run across decent people. That's why I've liked Hales and Travis and them. They're actually, they've been put in a weird predicament where you've got not John and Michelle by themselves are enough problem. They'll smear you. They're doing the same thing to Travis that they tried to do to Hales. You notice it's the same MO, by the way. Notice with the signs and everything else, they made specific accusations about Jeremy Hales. They tried to put them out everywhere. They did the same thing to Travis. Only he has phone messages where they're calling around. You've seen the posts and stuff. They've tried to take somebody that tries at least to do good, and I would say does good in the community. It helps out. Again, you have parents that are like, hey, this person is trying to help out. He's doing it. They felt that the ugliness that was stated needed to be addressed. And if it's to that level, when you think about that in the community, if a parent they feel like they need to come out, you think about the fact they even understand that there's a good person that somebody's trying to do damage to. The way that you can counter that is by taking his videos, giving them a watch, man, help him out. When he's live, like go in, tune in if you get a chance, all of that stuff, And I told him, for real, record everything. Anytime these people are around, you're right across the street from them. And John Cook has threatened people. Lynette Preston is threatening. She's threatening to, quote unquote, defend herself. Again, you record because those people, just like I think Levy County, they are afraid of the camera. They're afraid of the scrutiny. That keeps them honest because nothing else will. All right. I'm going to hit super chats now. Give me 1 minute. I'm going to stand up for just a minute. I'll be right back. I got to grab my supplements real quick. I forgot to take 2 of them. I took part of them around 8, but I forgot to take 2. So I got to grab them real quick. It'll take me less than a minute. All right, sorry about that. I'm sitting back down. Give me a second here. All right. Take a drink of water and then we'll hit Super Chat. Appreciate you folks too. You know, appreciate everybody here. Friday, you get over 2,000 people on a Friday. It's amazing. Fridays are such crazy days. Max Lab, thank you for the Super Chat too. Kicking it off there. Thank you, Max Lab. I very much appreciate that. And appreciate you. Cindy, what's up, Cindy? Always good to see you. Dropped 5 giftos there. Love it. Love it. Love the fact that people, again, they're told, hey, you're part of this as well. Love it. Christine, thanks for the 14 months. Tales from the Smoky Sewer. I like that. You know, people have been calling it the Smoky Sewer. I think that's amazing. I do love it. Cindy, thanks for the 2. Must be Jay. Blame Jay. Yes, again. So, 1 second here. I was told that, again, Jay noted that he is going to have on Clark Start tomorrow. He said that I made it a note for myself, like, you know, for the Clark Start guest star with Jay, to note that. So I did note it. Again, Jay is Jay. I always wonder. You gotta wonder. They also, I saw the people over in the Fats chat talking about the magistrate Belitho, how he's the greatest ever. He just uses truth, you know. And I was thinking about that. Does that mean that Bruce is just a lying piece of shit? Is that what they're saying? Because they say that he just searches out truth and all of this other stuff, and he makes the greatest. Well, Bruce tried to get him removed too. They did forget that, right? Right? They just want you to forget that. So if the magistrate was the greatest magistrate from Go, then why did Bruce try to get him removed? I'm very confused about that. Who's Daddy? Thanks for the 5. I have a service dog. First, she never leaves my side, ever. Second, service dogs never need a shot call. Exactly. Where did she get $25K for a trained service dog? Indeed. Well, she brought it in as a puppy, too. And again, a puppy, you can't, you know, if you're talking about an emotional support animal, people, they use these terms without any reasoning or logic. They just make it up because it sounds good and it helps probably drive a narrative, you know, and it says, hey, I want to get an animal. You know, next time I want to buy like a reptile. Oh, shit, dude. You know what? Down here at the pet store, in 2 weeks, they're supposed to get in a emotional support centipede, and I really need one. How stupid is that? They are getting a centipede in. I might get a centipede. I love centipedes. They're so creepy and crazy. You know, I've had one in a while. I had a giant centipede. The thing was, it was, oh God, almost a foot long. It's crazy, but it was a big adult. It lived about 2 years and died. But oh God, it was cool. I mean, can you imagine just randomly calling stuff a support animal? Like, there's no meaning to it because, like he's saying here, you know, with an animal, you spend a lot of time and a lot of money getting it ready, and that animal, you know, for acclimation's sake, animal typically is around you, close to, you know. I know people with support animals, and they would typically leave their animal out again with a shock collar. The shock collar, the reason that's a problem, I hope people understand this, is it's not just pain compliance, which again, I'm not talking about shock collars in it. If a person knows what they're doing, we've used electric fences with cattle. I mean, you know what you need to use, okay? But with a service animal, no. Because a service animal, if it has anxiety and fear of locations, it couldn't function properly. So for it to be on the property, and again, if it is indeed going to be called that, if it's not a service animal, then they spent quite a bit of money for nothing. That's why they called it a service animal, though, because they got called out for spending an excessive amount of money. Why? And again, what was amazing is it wasn't just, they'll rewrite this stuff, but if you go back and look, it wasn't people that were following Hales talking about this. It was actually people that had been giving money to her that were complaining, because they were like, hey, wait a minute. We thought we were giving to this, this, and this. How do you have money for that? Because that's an expensive animal. Why are you buying that? And it became, part of, it actually came up again when they had the discussions about her being irresponsible. Like all of that, they want to pretend all of that never happened because it's inconvenient. When they turned on one another, they acted like it was a tiff. Like imagine, again, I'm not going to have one. So, imagine like Megan and I had an argument, right? And say it happened online and there were words exchanged or something, right? Well, you see that, that'd be different. Like than trying to put someone in prison. That would never even cross your mind to talk about worrying about their children's safety. Are you kidding me? That's what freaking the Fats did with Michelle. And then they pretend nothing happened. But they also told all of those donors that money there that was raised with the fence, they are not grateful. They told them they were pieces of shit, basically. They're horrible people. They're ingrateful. And now they're out there and they're pumping these people for money again. It's crazy business. And it's even crazier as some of these folks, they fall into line. They do. Now, some of them I understand, because you have certain losers that get walked around in dog masks. So of course, they're gonna bark at whatever they're told to bark at. But other ones out there, it's just amazing. They've been trained to hate Hales. Like me, I don't hate every one of these people in there. I hate the fact, like Michelle Preston, like she's ridiculous. But watching this insanity, I actually like watching her insanity. Now, she's a habitual liar. I've experienced it myself. I can say firsthand she is a habitual liar. And these other people are too. Now, there's certain people in those groups. Oh, yeah, they're horrible. And I hate them for it. And if I were, but I've had direct interaction with some of these folks. But these folks have been trained just to hate Jeremy Hales because, well, these folks bark about it. They like to bark about it. I think that's so funny too. Here's Paint Chips, by the way, just saying that his channel got taken out. I noticed that as well. Do you see this? There's him talking about, I'll probably bring it up tomorrow or something, He said his channel was retired for the time being. That's where he's gotten banned again. Fallen Hero, 40 months, man. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. All the time, 40 months. That's a long time, my friend. Thank you for that, because I appreciate you quite a bit. American Woman Thrifted, thanks for the 2 there. What is it, your FOIA requested? Indeed. And the FOIA will come out. All of it will, and it'll be fun, I'm sure. Linda, thanks for the 19 months. Oh, to you and the girls? Well, thank you. I appreciate that. That's awesome of you. Carol, thanks for the 2. Yep, I reported him 323. Subpoena me all he wants. Yeah, I think multiple people have, by the way. They can if they want to, But I think it was his AIDS video that got him hit. I don't know. I didn't even know he went down, though, until just now. Cindy, thanks for the 2. I wonder if LMNOP's Ohio lawyer can get paperwork. For anything in the case, you mean? Or I'm curious what you mean. Can you? He can get paperwork for like anything related to the case, stuff like that. Could they request paperwork from? Are you talking about like from the fire calls or anything? If that's what we're talking about, anybody can. Anyone's going to FOIA request documentation if that's what you mean. Tight line, thanks for the 5. I had a fascinating comment, but just like a lane bred off, I couldn't type it without any objections. Hope it still counts. Yes, even if your comment has been objected to and you have no comment, that is still a comment. And you know what? It, much like this, well, is appreciated because it is back. Thank you for your backing. I love those freaking things. I'm glad to see you, by the way. Carol, thanks for the 2. If Coop is black, I must be like yellow. Well, indeed, the way that they kept saying that he had some type of history where he scams and pretends to be a black man, and Coop was like, "What? What now? When did that happen?" You know, I mean, again, they've learned that they just make up shit because why not? They hope over time that the shit they make up, again, it's not the now that it causes problems. They hope to cause problems 5 years from now. It's the same thing. Like you run into people like this all the time. They're the same pieces of shit. Just like all the, ooh, let's see these rumors about Tuck. Well, it's pieces of shit just like them. These are the type of tactics people try to use. If they can't hit you now, they hope to hit you in the future. And, well, you see, it depends on what kind of sponsorships you use and more. You know, that's why you keep a record of these folks too. But it is crazy, isn't it? Again, he said noted. This whole thing, I thought this was good. I'm going to note again. Thanks you for the super chat, 50 there. But my cousin's ex-father had the same first, middle, last name, and birthday as convicted felon. When he flies, he has to go extra early. One difference is the other guy's black. TSA once asked him if he'd ever been black. I think that's amazing. Yeah, like I said, I have somebody here. Again, same name. In fact, somebody I know got pulled over. And when they got pulled over, they looked up name that was associated. They saw my name on it, and they thought that was this other person because of the run-ins with the law that other person has had. It's so dumb, though. But for them, you know, it's not just they're not just wrong about something. They know they're wrong. They are spreading lies because they want to malign this person. They want to ruin them, and they know it. Emmy, thanks for the 10 there. Wait, didn't the new Ohio lawyer already say during the first hearing that he would accept service for them? So them not accepting the papers there shouldn't matter, right? Yeah, the new Ohio lawyer would accept anything from them. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, with their lawyer, I mean, he would accept. And I'm sure, like I said, the other lawyer also had items that had been served, you know, and sent to them, the prior lawyer, which they noted. That's how, you know, actually, that's another thing I forgot to always clarify. So I knew one of the things also that we learned from Tina, and I totally forget to bring this up. Remember how they were claiming that they had never had any service given to them? They didn't know about specific things, lawsuits. Well, we found out that, well, according to Lynette anyway, she had been given the paperwork by her ex-lawyer because, you know, he was the last attorney at record. So that when we talked about that, yeah, that's what happened. So we did have confirmation for that. When she was saying all this time that she didn't know about certain things and she needed this delayed or that delayed, she absolutely knew about it. She was lying because her last attorney at record, according to her, not according to the attorney, according to her, got it. Isn't that wild? William, thanks for the 10. Every spring after our burn ban lifts, I burn all the down branches and small trees from the winter. The smoke never looks like that. Yes, I know. Even when damp, there's, very little smoke. It's also coloration. So you're right. Ink, it just the way everything burns, it doesn't look right. It looks like there's something mixed in. It looks like trash burning. Which again, they're like, no problem. Okay, I hear you. Andre, thanks for the 2. I wonder if they have property insurance. You would hope. You would hope. But it's usually like that. The person that hits you on the road, unfortunately, like I carry uninsured motorists, as you should too. As you should too. Because it's usually that one asshole that's out there that ends up hitting you and or burning your property down, or ruining something of yours. They have no way, no means. At least that's what they tell. They have nothing. They can't fix your shit. Sue them, but what are you going to get? And Tug, Jr. I'll check in a minute. Actually, you know what? I'll look at it right now. Give me a second. 1 minute. Indeed. That's funny. I like that. Thank you, Allie. SF, thanks for the 10. Don't all service dogs have best? Like I said, I'm not sure. Again, like I said, I have not dealt with service animals in a long time, so I don't know if you have to identify. I guess it depends on where you are, but it would definitely help your animal to identify. I'm just not sure. He's your daddy. Can you answer something like that for them? Since you know about service animals more. Also, here's Danny, thanks for the 2. 18 months, $25K to train my dog with a minimum age of 2. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. You're a perfect example of what I'm talking about here. You can't just get a puppy and say it's trained. It is a costly endeavor. If you have a true service dog, it's costly. And even, again, people have gone now, they start trying to call random animals, quote unquote, emotional support animals. And they just assign it to themselves. And again, I'm not saying that an animal can be emotional support, but that, the way that it's framed, it's so misleading. Because some people, it's like anything else. I believe certain people do a major disservice to those that truly have these things, truly have needs for them. I work with quite a few people that had all types of issues. Now, I worked with people with service animals, during therapy, but I never really looked into the rules. I never had to get to that point. Never had to help somebody get a service animal, but I worked with people that had service animals, and they were so, you could tell, you could have an animal come in and sit down and just be there. Like through the whole, you could see the training, because the person could come in for therapy. They bring their service dog with them. The dog would sit over like beside them, or, a little bit further, depending on the animal, how they situate. And it was just amazing to watch. You could just see, like, not just the loyalty and agreement, but the money. You could see how it had been trained. It was something to behold. SM, thanks for the 5. Hey, John, if they didn't notify the burn ban properly, how did your neighbors know to notify the fire department about it? Yeah, indeed. Oh, well, their answer was that Jeremy stalks the fire department, because apparently keeping up with what's going on in your community is stalking. That's strange, isn't it? Again, if it were no big deal, then they just eat it and be like, yeah, my bad. That's what they should have done from go. Now they pretend that's what they did, but they didn't. They went from go. They acted like, and again, Travis, they were so mad because Travis called it out. But they tried to use burn ban against him. And they also said, funny enough, when Travis had those issues come up, they said that him not knowing about it, that was no excuse. He should go to jail. So Oopsie. Bunsen Rockenstone. Thanks for the 2 there. Travis needs a 360 camera. Indeed, he does. He does. Travis is getting better at stuff, you know. He is. Like I said, I like Travis. He's learning he's learning all this stuff. And he's come a long way. Look at his editing just since I've been covering this. Look how far his editing skills and stuff have gone. It's good. He does good work, you know. And his filming is getting better. And like for serious notes, you know, after everything too, he was talking about like how to like what to record and things like that. Because like he said, he's never been in a situation where you needed that. He's usually the person that's being recorded. So in all seriousness, he is wanting to get better at his craft, and that's a good thing, man. You know, you always encourage people if they're trying to get better at their craft, trying to do a better job, and you can see it. Again, you can see the work. So I'm proud of him. But yeah, it'd be great if he could have something like that. Detective, what's up? Thanks, Dave. Shade cloth. It sure looks like a silk fence to me. Yeah, you know, it's a giant garbage bag. Is that what they're talking about? Are they calling that a shade cloth? Is that thing on top of the fence? Is that what they mean? Because if they're calling that a shade cloth, I mean, again, look at this thing. It's just insane. You know, it would have been smart, again, is to build the fence correctly. But they're talking about this mess. And they tried to say that it's because they're trying to protect a child from being filmed because, well, you know what they alleged. What a bunch of creepers. You know, maybe it's like the PR team. You know, what they say about other people is what they are. Maybe that's what we're in, and maybe that's what we're seeing. John Cook. No ring. Is that no ring? Me Too's? Am I saying that right? Or thanks for the 2. It's a health issue for Hudson sisters. Yes. I heard about that too. I'm glad you brought that up. Who has a trach? Yes. There are many people out there. Again, it's just also, it's a decency thing. If you've got stuff to burn, doing it here and there, that's okay. I mean, it's your property, obviously. Look, I can do all kinds of shit on my property. You know, we're unincorporated here. I could do all kinds of stuff, but I don't. I could go outside right now and, you know, there's nobody that they'd probably eventually call the cops, but, you know, I could go out pumping up my radio in my car. Like when I'm pulling out, I could put it up to ear jarring levels and, you know, disturb my neighbors with that. But I don't. Why? Because I try to be decent around other people. And that's something that just annoys people. When you're talking about smoke and more, especially if you're burning garbage. Ugh. Suzanne, thank you for that gifted membership. Great to see you too, Suzanne. Every time, like I said, never change that avatar because I pull it up. It's not just the avatar, it's the white background. If you look at everybody, you know, most people have stuff in the background and it just immediately sticks out. Oh, I love that. Thank you. Angela, what's up, Angela Klein? Thanks for the 5 there. Did you see Travis's blessing about? Yes, I'm glad you mentioned that because I forgot all about that. So I'm glad you mentioned it. I forgot to put a note for it. Hippie Witch, thanks for the 5. In Nova Scotia, if you're caught burning during a ban, $25,000 fine. If it's a barrel or a fire pit, no excuse. Wow, that's wild. I mean, here again, I don't think that these people, they should, you know, when I'm talking about that, I don't think anybody should be going to jail over this kind of stuff. It's not a major crime, but it can lead to a major catastrophe. And these are the people to cause it. And if they caused a major outbreak fire, can you imagine what would happen? They would immediately somehow blame Jeremy Hales. I mean, can you imagine that? Because I can. I could immediately see them somehow, if they burned down all the property around them, they would immediately come out and start screaming about how Jeremy Hales somehow did it. Jeremy Hales, it's his fault. What's up, Puzzler? Thanks for the 5 there. And Tug, I sent you a link to what is either Felicia show or a Walrus show. I have to check it. I'll check that out. Thank you. SF, thanks for the 5. If the PD and the FD have social pages, is that entrapment if you follow them? Apparently, according to them, it would be. No, I mean, they have, these forward facing pages. It's interesting because, they pretend that it's not your job to find out what's going on in your communities. It would be Jeremy Hale's job, though, but it's not Michelle Preston or their job or whatever. It's so amazing to me. Wow. Emma, almost 3 years. That is amazing, by the way. 4 more months. By the way, I have a few emails I need to respond to. I have not had a chance yet. You hear my voice going out. Yeah. And thank you. That is awesome. I mean, again, you people, you make this channel. Channel didn't, it's not me and a microphone. It's all of you that showed up and stay and make this a channel. Thank you. Yeedy, thanks for that. I sent you an email. You'll love it and can share. Let me see. Let me see what you sent over. Yeedison. Let me check it out. Oh yeah, I'll check it out, and afterwards I may share it like tomorrow or something. The one rule, and this has nothing to do with any of y'all, but one rule I maintain is sound clips. Unless I can check them without it being near on here, I never do that, because I had somebody send something once and it was very let's just say maybe I'm too prudish there, but I thought no, I don't want that here. So after that, I always check stuff first. So I'll check it out, and I'm sure it's entertaining. I'm sure it's awesome too. So many of you are funny. Sully, thanks for the 2. Thanks for keeping my mind busy tonight. Hey, well, I'm glad you're here, and always, everybody that comes in, again, I try to have a show at least somewhere you can be every day. If it's not on my channel, we go over to Megan's channel. By the way, remember, Megan Fox's birthday comes up next week. The real deal. So all jokes aside, since she's off on the weekend, let's have a good birthday for her. Have a great time. I know we joke about it and stuff, but I appreciate Megan. I've had a lot of fun over this last time, and a lot of people have no idea. Again, you have no idea. When I talked about illness, like I was having a lot of problems, and she helped pick up a lot of that slack during that time. So, again, this year, I think it'll be fun to just, it's kind of a saying thank you. On top of that, something crazy is about to happen. You want to hear this insanity? Brace yourself. I am about to send her the leg warmers. I know you almost fell out of your chair, didn't you? It's actually going to happen. It's funny because Hale's, you remember, he noted the breadstick bags. So he's got one and noted signing the other. So I signed the other. I'm going to send it over to Megan, and they can sign them and do whatever they want with them, which would be, I think it'd be fun. But when I'm doing that, he was so funny. He sent a bag with leg warmers in it, and it said to Megan, and he was like, I know it's I'm paraphrasing, but he was like, I know it's against every inclination for you just to send this, to essentially, I know you hold on to stuff and make jokes about it forever because it's funny, but like, when you get this is an envelope. It's already postage paid. It's already good to go. Everything's good. I'm going to stick the things back in the bag and send them. But I'm going to add on I'm going to take it down and see if I need to add some postage. I'm going to stick in the other items there, and I'm going to send her a couple of things too. So I'll send it out. Hopefully it'll be there by birthday. If not, it'll land pretty soon. I'm going to try to get it out tomorrow. Anything barring. But how does that happen? You're probably like, oh my God. Nancy, thanks for the 14 months there. I love your show. Hey, Nancy, thank you. Love back to you. And, I appreciate it. Again, y'all have made, you all make this possible every day. So thank you. I mean, it's just amazing. I feel so fortunate to have it. And Amy, thanks for the 5. Crap, I missed Megan's birthday. No, you missed the pre-birthday. Remember the pre-birthday. That's funny. I think we'll have a good, again, it comes up on the 15th. It's funny, we both have May 15th birthday. I have May and she has an April. So I thought that was fun. Let me check and see if it looks like I got everybody. All right. Well, appreciate you folks. It has been a good Friday. And I think Jay is on. I haven't done a redirect. Check and see. I think it's Jay's on. Shizzy may be on too. I think Jay usually, a lot of times Shizzy goes over the expert. So typically I just redirect to, let me see if, actually, let me check. I haven't redirected just Jay in a while. Let me see if he's on. Yeah, he's on. I'm going to redirect to his people watch, Give me a second here. It'll take me a minute, but I do want to, the redirecting thing, I know people can usually, they can find something on their own, but it just, it alleviates. There have been, if you don't redirect here and there and don't mention some, people are always coming up with these strange rumors about, oh my God, this happened or that happened. So this is Jay. I'm going to redirect there. And I think that's that for tonight. I appreciate you folks. And I'm sure we'll see you tomorrow. I'm not sure the topic yet, but it'll be a good one.